All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another video. We're talking about the Commission Expo, which is our event that's taking place in Orlando, April 19th through 21st. As you can see, I am blessed by the presence of internet royalty here today, Mr. MikeFilsaime. What's up, Mike?
Hey, Omar. Hey, everyone. Thanks for having me, buddy.
Man, anytime that I get to speak to you, it is a privilege. Mike, I don't think everyone knows that you were my initial mentor. We actually went on to become partners and everything. I remember the event that I first met you at. I remember our first conversations, and you're probably seen it definitely by me as one of the biggest innovators that we've had in the internet marketing space. So I'm really, really excited to have you speak at our event. I really, really appreciate that you're doing that. And what I want to start this interview off by is asking you, and you've been around doing this so long, so it might be a tough question for you to answer, what would you say is your biggest accomplishment online?
Well, that's interesting. You know, I'm the co-founder of Kartra, WebinarJam and EverWebinar, and pretty proud of that fact. And I do believe that Kartra is going to go on and due to InfusionSoft, what WebinarJam did to GoToWebinar, compete very, very well. But I think, so I'll ask you this question, Omar. I don't know how many people have walked on the moon, but I know they've all been Americans. And I believe the number is 11 or 14, I believe. And that's it. And it happened from like 1968 through like 1974, and we never went back. And it's only been Americans that have ever touched the moon, believe it or not. So out of those, let's say it's 11 people that walked on the moon. How many can you name?
How many can I name? One, maybe two.
Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, right?
That's it.
That's it. Number three, it wouldn't even be a guess. It wouldn't even be a guesstimate. You'd be like, right. No, I just couldn't tell you.
Right.
Some people might say John Glenn. I think he was the first one ever in space, but he never touched the moon. So the truth is that my biggest accomplishment is I was the second person to do $1 million. John Reese was the first.
Mike, you got distorted there for a second. I'm sorry, you cut out for a second there. You were the first person to do what?
$1 million launch. No, I was the second person. John Reese was the first. I was the second. And then it was everybody else. And so everybody remembers the first guy that did the $1 million launch. It was John Reese. It was very, very big. He did it August of 2004. It took 1.5 years till it happened again. That was me. It was January 31st of 2006. It was another holy cow moment. I couldn't walk into, there are people today, and I say unfortunately, and it is unfortunate that I'm recognized for that. 12 years ago, more than some of the other things that I've done, I got introduced on stage by Captain Lou the other day as the creator of Butterfly Marketing on the Marketer's Cruise. I said, Lou, Butterfly Marketing. So that was 12 years ago. I said, you know, there's been a lot of bigger and better things. He's like, is anything more impressive? So I'll give him that one. The most impressive thing that I did was doing $1 million a day when it was, you know, it was unheard of.
It's $1 million day.
Yeah. It made noise in the industry as if you did a product launch that did $100 million. And I'm not adding hype. If there was a company that did $100 million, you would be shocked. But if you saw the proof to accept it, you'd be like, wow, okay, so they did that, they did this, and then it would change your paradigm, right? And you would be going, everybody you have a conversation with, 2 or 3 things would go by and you'd be like, oh, by the way, did you hear those guys, so-and-so? They did $100 million. Everybody, that's what happened because, you know, Jeff Walker, his email address, even to this day, he'll hate me for saying it, but it's okay. Because his domain was 6in7.com.
Right.
That's 7.com because he was known for doing $100,000 in 7 days. My internet connection is unstable. Oh, I just got a little notice. I hope it's okay.
Yeah.
Then, you know, before that, I think when they asked what was the biggest amount ever done in a day before John did the $1 million, it was $77,000 by somebody had posted in the Warrior Forum in a day, and everybody went nuts. How the hell did somebody just do my annual salary in a day? And so when John did $1 million, it was crazy. And then nobody knew how to do it after that. And then I did it, and then Stompernet did it, and Rich Sheffrin did it, and Jeff Walker did it, and on and on and on.
It's like Roger Bannister, right? So nobody was able to break the minute mile.
And then the paradigm shift was done, and everybody knew how to do it.
Right.
I would say that.
So that is awesome. And I'll tell you, speaking to someone that's never had $1 million launch, the fact that you can make $1 million in a day, to me today is still very, very impressive, even though, like you just said, many people have gone on to do the same thing. For me, personally, I think that like with Captain Lou, where that one is the most memorable. Yeah, I know you for WebinarJam. I know you for various other things that you've done, but I think Butterfly Marketing had the biggest, of all your products, Butterfly Marketing had the biggest impact on me. 125 pages changed my life, in Butterfly Marketing. And the concepts that I learned at that time from that book, I had the printed book, I still have it. And it just kind of set the road. It paved the road for everything that I did afterwards. And I think a lot of people feel that way because it was that kind of a launch. It was just that kind of a product. So tell us about, since you're so diverse, right? You've done so many different things, and right now you're focusing on SaaS, and you tell us about WebinarJam, Kartra. I want to know what are you going to be talking about at the Commission Expo? Why should people have their butts in the seat during your presentation?
I'm going to be talking about webinars. I still think that today, based on the price point of your product and the type of product that it is, but let's assume that it's an info product and it's $297 or more. It's a good home study course and even some good software. If it's a high-priced software and you might offer an annual plan or discount. I think that webinars are the best way to market online, from Facebook to JV partners. You do them all the time. You promote them. Andy Jenkins, coined this phrase, there's nothing that converts a visitor from your website to a higher dollar amount in your shopping cart than a webinar. And I believe that. So I'm going to be talking about the 5 laws of a successful webinar. But more important than that, I've got some stuff, because I've spoken about that before, maybe even at your last event. But trimming down that portion of the webinar, new people to the event are going to love. I've done some consulting recently for people like Marshall Silver. I've done some consulting for John Assaraf and Bill Harris, a couple of other companies as well. And they had some really good teams that anything I was able to think of and execute, they did. So there's some new things that I'm going to be talking about that I've never spoken about publicly before, only at my masterminds. And this is old commercials. Most young people listening won't understand this. Remember the old E.F. Hutton? When E.F. Hutton talks,
somebody talks, everybody listens.
People listens.
Right.
Yeah. So when I talk about this stuff at the masterminds, it's almost like the E.F. Hutton moments. When I start talking, people are like, wait a sec, I was typing on my iPad. What did you do? And then when I give this stuff, people give moments. So there's going to be some E.F. Hutton moment at your event when I share some of the stuff that we did in a $3.5 million launch that the year before that did 1.6 million. And so I came in, I'm not going to talk much about the presentation. I'm going to leave the talent up to the people in the audience. And I'm going to tell you about the stuff that you can tactically do that has really awesome effects on webinars.
That is powerful. And the numbers that you're talking about, man, I mean, this is big. These are big numbers. This is, for me, I think is going to be at the last event, you were standing room only. You were the most viewed. I think people that weren't even at our event, I think they were doing other things in the hotel and they came into our ballroom to hear you talk. So
I think because you love me so much, Omar, I think you did such a great job selling some damn good speakers at that one and on this page as well. So thanks for helping fill the room for me. I appreciate it.
Well, I'm really excited to hear about it. Now, for me, another thing that I know about MikeFilsaime, like your name is synonymous with, is just the amount of power in your list, in your emailing. Right. So I remember you doing a talk once where you said, hey, very early in the game, I focused on list building. I focused on things that would build my list because I knew that was it. And you've gone on, and in my opinion, I think you've gone on to be one of the most highly sought after affiliates, I think, in the industry. Like, people want MikeFilsaime to promote their product because so obviously, having $1 million launch and all these other things that you've done have attracted a lot of customers. But I think you sell yourself short a little bit too, and when we're talking about affiliate marketing, because you're the man when it comes to affiliate marketing, man.
I've been around a long time, so it helps. I mean, the fact is, you've been around a long time too. I mean, when we start getting close to these years like infinity at this point, it's like it starts becoming divide by zero how close we've been doing it a long time. I go to a lot of events. I'm sure we'll talk about events and how they've impacted me and stuff. But I'm a relationship guy. I don't tend to run out of the room unless there's certain circumstances. We'll tell that story only at the event, though. You got to attend the event.
Yeah.
So I tend to be around the cocktail parties. I tend to be around, maybe flying a day early, do the costume parties, come in looking like a knucklehead. I try not to be too good for anything at, all the cool parties and stuff, that are thrown. And, at the end of the day, I think I'm approachable. And I've always come at it from the point of, let me get to know somebody and see how I can help them without any expectation of, and people, when I ask for favors, they usually are there for me.
So I just got the internet connection message as well. So I think that I'm going to give a supporting statement to what you just said, because the way that you and I met and the way that you literally changed my life. I have a framed picture. I've shown it to you.
You showed it to me last time. Was
of an email that you sent me. I'm looking at it. It's right over there. I'm not going to go off camera to grab it, but yeah, you know what? I'll do it. I'll do it, and I'll show you guys, so you know that I'm not making it up. Yeah, that's how serious it was. This is the first email. Well, not the first one, but an email that I got from MikeFilsaime. It was a personal email written to me. Only if you visit my house will you be able to actually read what's on here. But it's a very short email. And it was probably one of the most inspiring things that was ever said to me in the beginning. And Mike had such an impact in my own business. Melinda and I have gone on to become millionaires and sell millions of dollars online as a direct result of Mike being willing to just talk to somebody that literally can't help him financially, or really, you're just being a good person. And I learned about you through John Thornhill. I was brand new, learning, and John Thornhill promoted Butterfly Marketing, it was your newsletter, or seven figure secrets.
7-Figure Secrets, yeah.
Right. And when I saw you on camera for the first time, I was like, oh my goodness, this guy, because until now I thought all internet marketers were British. And I was like, this guy speaks regular English. He's in New York, So I just got determined to meet you, and I actually started emailing you. And the way I got your email, because back then social networks weren't like what it is today, right? You couldn't, Facebook existed.
Facebook
it didn't have graph search and stuff like it does
honestly,
today.
I think it was 2007, and we didn't have Facebook accounts till like 2008.
Right. So Twitter. It wasn't like nowadays reaching somebody there's a lot more ways. So back then you needed to have that person's email, right? And you promoted a product shortly after I got on your list where you said, look, I love this product so much, I'm going to buy it. I freezed it. I recorded and I freezed it, and so you could get your email address as you're filling out the form. And I started emailing you to see if you would talk to me, right? And you did. And you gave me some of the best advice that I've ever had. That literally, it's one of those little butterflies, right? You set off a chain reaction in my own business. And I think that's the kind of thing that can happen at events. When I later met you in person at an event, we ended up becoming friends. We ended up working together. You ended up higher level strategy. You were the principal owner at one point, and
come up with a name, I think.
It was you came up with the name. You're the one that bought the domain. It was initially,
and designed the logo.
Yeah, Lucius made the logo. So I'll tell you, man, it's a privilege to be able to have you speak at one of our events, because you've had such an impact in our own business. And I've gone on to this little spiel here for everybody, so that you know that Mike is probably the most genuine guy, because typically when you hear of somebody doing these kind of numbers, making this kind of money, doing these kinds of launches, you kind of like tend to think like, oh my God, that, you know, that's not somebody that but Mike is like the most down-to-earth person you could ever meet, you know? So I really, really appreciate that about you. Let me ask you something. How do you think that the attendees will be able to make money from your presentation? Will they be able to go into their hotel room that night and make a change that will help them make more money?
Yeah, look, you know, any little instant recipe, right? Whether it's a sloppy Joe or ramen noodles, you know, it always says just add water, right? So I have to say at one point, just add you, bring a product, just add you. But I think what they're going to learn from the event, from all the speakers, and what I'll be teaching about webinars, especially with the ability to do things so easily today with the technology that's out there, like WebinarJam, EverWebinar, all of the different cool products out there that are not, you know, right down to Kartra, ClickFunnels, all these things where back in the day we were designing pages in Dreamweaver and Front Page. You know,
Front Page.
WordPress. WordPress is getting hard now. Right? You know, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I'd be saying, you know, now we've got WordPress. I mean, it's just gotten so easy to the point where now you can really focus on the formula. And I'll show the formula. You just add water. You know, you bring the product. What I'll have is a blueprint. And the only thing, you know, that comes next is taking action. Is not being distracted. It's not just taking action. People take action every day. They need to be focused. They need to have a game plan and understand what is distracting them. You said something great to me today. I loved it. You said, I took the Facebook app off my phone. I'm going to do that as well. It's never served me good to get a notification from Facebook. It's only distracted me. And, you know, sometimes it's my wife sharing a photo. I'll see it on my desktop, you know, later. But yeah, I agree with you. People just got to stay focused. And I think everything they're going to learn at your event from the speakers, certainly I'm going to do my best to give some stuff that they can take away and have actionable items. I think if they stay focused, do what we tell them to do, don't get distracted, put a game plan together, stay committed to it, they can see you know, the great results that they're seeing all around them happening online.
Mike, you've been to a lot of events. You've run many events. As a matter of fact, the first time I ever spoke at an event was a little breakout session that you arranged for Melinda and myself at Launch Tree in Las Vegas. It was the first time I'd ever spoken at an event.
With Anik.
Yeah. And I remember dinner with you that night, and you were like, "Hey, how'd you do? Did you make any sales?" And I was just praying that you wouldn't ask me because I had only made 3 and I was so upset with myself, you know, and you were like, you're complaining that you made $9,000, right? Like, yeah. You know, and you really kind of brought me down to where I needed to be, you know? And you've also been at so many events. Not only have you run events, because I remember you telling me one time that you said, man, Omar, I've been to so many events. Like I spent most of this year flying in the air.
I had spent more time on a plane traveling that day or in a hotel room than at my office. There were, you know, more than 185 days that year. I was either in a hotel room or on a plane going or coming home. Yeah, I was doing a lot of events from 2008 through 2010, 2006 through 2009. Yeah.
So with that being said, what can you tell us about the impact that events have had on your career and your life?
Look, we got to go back to butterfly marketing, talk about why that product was called butterfly marketing, because it was based on butterfly effect, which is chaos theory, the butterfly flapping its wings, but such a tiny change in the atmosphere that can change, you know, 50 years from now, what would have been tsunami that wipes out the Indonesian coastline could turn into a beautiful sunny day. So there are these tiny little things that you know that it's very hard to trace back. Sometimes it's, you know, I would have to say to you, you know, well, it led you to me. And you go back to all of these different things and you finally realize, oh, if I didn't call in sick to work that day or whatever it is, it's these little butterfly effects. So it's hard for me to really quantify the effects tangibly that I've had at events, but there have been so many butterfly effects. Everyone I know in this industry, I met at an event because they don't knock on my door. And the reason why Tim Ferriss, you, Brendan Bouchard, even today, you know, Russell Brunson, you know, with his great, you know, $100 million company, down to people I haven't spoken to in years, like Buck Risby, just, you know, haven't spoken to him in 6 years, just reached out. And every one of these people I've met at events and masterminds and cocktail parties and having a drink or going out to dinner or whatever the case is. That's where I meet people. The best relationships have happened. I have the ability to use technology and quote unquote push a button and make money. And it's leveraged because of the relationships that I have with people. There's a great person, I think many of you know, she's one of the top faces, very brilliant over a digital marketer, Molly Pittman. I had never met Molly. I went to traffic and conversion. She was there, quick little hi, goodbye. Yeah, it'd be great to talk one day. She just happened to be at a dinner that Damien Zamora was doing. Again, I could go home and I could call it a night. Damien's putting on a dinner. There's going to be 25 people. I could be a curmudgeon and be like, oh, you know, so much networking at these events. I'm tired. I push through it. I'm there. I get there early. You know, they say get there at 7 and you get there at 7. You realize you're the only one there. You know, you really need to be fashionably late. So I get there and she's there actually cooking. So I had an opportunity to have a talk with her for a good like hour by the time where we had to break up because people strolled in at 7:45 but didn't stop our talking. It got to the point, and Molly is friggin' badass, man. Like one of the most respected, not just women in this industry, one of the most respected marketers I have in this industry is Molly. And she did a lot of stuff in digital marketing. Nobody knows Facebook and all the ManyChat stuff better than her. She said to me, all the stuff like with ManyChat, she said, I would love to do something with you. I said, what do you mean? I laughed just like that. What do you mean? She goes, I don't know, something, a product or something. So, my wheels start turning. I have celebrity influence and abilities to do pretty cool launches. And I was like, wow, with her knowledge, I didn't pester her about it. We've spoken through text a little bit. And those are the things that happen just from going to events. And I can guarantee you that at your event, there are people that don't know each other, that will know each other, that will either do a six-figure project or create a seven-figure business just because they were at your event. And by some stroke of, fate, they happen to be at the same place at the right time. Just a quick example. The reason why I know Donna Fox today and Tom Beal, Tom always tells a story, but when I told when I told Armin Morin that I want to speak at his event back in 2006 or 2005, he had told me, you need to go to this event and you need to buy from this guy, John Childers. So I go there, end up meeting John Childers. We become friends. End up meeting Alex Bondosi, and we become friends. He's some of my best JV partners. But more importantly, his offer was, when you buy it, you can bring one other person in the room. And I looked over to the right, and there was a person that ended up doing the Internet Marketing Main Event with me. And, Donna Fox just happened to be there. I didn't know her that well. And she was there, and I was like, are you thinking of it? Let's do it together. We bought it and then put on an event together because of that. And she just happened to be sitting next to me. So these are the types of things. I know it's a long-winded answer, but it only happens when you commit to it. And you say, what are the chances my life's going to change by staying home over these 3 days? And what are the chances my life is going to change for the price of a ticket over here? And I know there's a lot of different events to go to, but there's a lot of reasons to come to this event. I know the speakers that are there. I know Omar and Melinda, like literally stayed at their house. They're some of the warmest people. All the stuff you say about me, Omar, the first thing I said before we hit record is when I saw you, I said, you guys always bring a smile to my face, and it's genuine. It's just great to talk with you, and we don't do it enough. So you got to make this event. You're going to learn from some great people.
That is awesome, man.
And the people in the room are more important. You'll find that out.
That is, I've heard Tom tell the story about the outlet, right? He was, you were looking for a place to plug in your computer, and
what is Tom the MC at this event?
Yes, Tom is the MC.
Right. Tom through me. This is a butterfly effect that goes all the way down. just true because it's true. Back in the day, we didn't have MacBooks and MacBook Airs that, you know, would get you a 4-hour battery. I had this like Toshiba, you know, Windows machine, and it got like 27 minutes, you know, when you unplug it. This was 2005 at Joel Christopher's event. I forget what he called it, the double birthday bash or something. And I walked in the room 10 minutes late, and Joel was already talking, and it was packed. I mean, literally packed. And I had my laptop. So I'm like walking around, you know, like this. And my name was pretty big back then. So I'm kind of interrupting the room. And everybody's looking back. And Joel's like, MikeFilsaime, everybody. And I'm like, I just need to sit down. And they don't have any places to plug these things in. And the 4 outlets that are being used, that are there, are already being used. And all of a sudden, Tom Beal says, Mike, you need to plug that in? And I was like, yeah, but you're using one. He goes, let's just swap every 30 minutes. And I was like, cool. I sneak over there. How you doing? Tom Beal, MikeFilsaime. Became best friends, went to the Alamo together. Tom ended up working for me. We became partners. And the rest, as they say, is history, simply because I needed a place to plug my laptop. If I would have sat somewhere else, Tom and I never would have met. And that's that. It's just...
Right. And then, you know, he and I wouldn't have met, and he wouldn't be, you know, I'm seeing this event, like there's so many different like parallel universes out there of what could have happened. Right. And it's amazing. And it's just that one little thing that could happen. So with that being said, what is the one piece of advice that you could give to the person that's on the fence, or maybe the person that's freaking out right now because it's going to be their first time going to an event, or even the person that's going, what kind of advice could you give to somebody that's been to a few events?
Let me keep this event specific, right? Because advice, you know, really depends on where are you in your business and all that stuff. But event specific. Omar, do you ever see Finding Nemo?
Yeah.
You might have heard me tell the story before. You ever heard me tell
No,
this?
I haven't heard the story, but I've seen Finding Nemo.
Do you remember when Nemo, towards the end of the movie, had escaped, but he ended up somehow like on a little dock?
Yeah, yeah.
These little birds.
Yes.
And they were just looking, and all of a sudden they were just like, mine. Mine, and he's flopping around, and all these birds are just going mine, and they're trying to eat him. That is what you can be in an event if you're not careful. So just change the word from mine to me, and then you are the person at the event that is me, business card, me. Room, and we go to lunch, and we come back, and you're saying, Melinda, who put all these flyers all over the seats?
Oh.
Did we get these flyers off the seats, right? Mine.
Right.
So my advice to you is to go to the event without, what is the expression? I think Tom says it all the time. Without the expectation of anything just no expectations. Just go there with literally no expectations. Let it come to you. Business cards, the reason why you carry business cards is for one reason and one reason only, is so that you don't insult somebody that asks you for your business card. Because when you don't, sometimes they get insulted. So bring your business card. But if somebody wants to connect with you, don't give me your business card. I don't want to tell you what I do with business cards, but it usually happens after I eat and they don't have toothpicks. And that's just the God's honest truth. It's the truth. I'm not even kidding about that. So the way you want to connect with somebody is just put them in your phone. If you were to call me right now, I'm not answering a call. People said, if you go to Kartra.com/JV, where it says my contact information, I could have put Skype, Facebook, and you know what I put? My cell phone number. And people are like, Mike, how could you give out your private cell phone number? I'm like, what do I care? I said, everybody reaches me on Facebook. They're just going to text me. Nobody's going to call me. And if they do, I'm not answering it. Because if you're not in my phone under contacts, I don't answer. So when you get in somebody's phone, everything changes from the way you communicate with them. Text, oh yeah, 2 years ago, I remember, oh, we were at Omar's event. That's how you want to connect with people. The business cards are cool, but 6 weeks later, find out what they're used for. It's Omar, when you get home and you have a stack of business cards like this, you probably have like stacks of stacks. Do you ever go through them and be like, who is that guy? Like, I just know you don't. No,
that definitely has changed. I was the guy that used to ask for everyone's business cards at event. I would use them, especially in the beginning. I would use them to when I got back home. I made a spreadsheet with everybody's name, their company name, their address. Again, these were different times. That first year for me going to events, we didn't have social media like now. We didn't even have smartphones like we do today. Yeah, we didn't have apps like we do today, right? So I was just beginning. Smartphones were just starting. So it was different. And as a result of collecting business cards and asking people for a card after we had met, I now had a way to reach back out to them because their business card has their email address on it, and I could even mail a postcard. Just until recently, I had a postcard here and when I'm doing a launch or something like that, I can send them a message and say, hey, remember me? We met at so and so, and so they served me well back then in the beginning. Nowadays, I think that it's totally different. Like you said, you got to use your phone, put their number in your phone, exchange numbers. I love the way that you explain that. Is don't be the me person, and just go with the flow and make relationships.
Yeah, and close that. And this is how you practice it. You say, so tell me, when you meet somebody, be the person to say, so tell me about your business, and listen. I forget who it was. The guy that won the award on the Marketers Cruise said the Heart of Gold Award. He said the previous year, he said he knew when the person was talking, he was already just like looking around saying, who else do I want to meet here? And waiting for the person to finish so that he could talk about his company. So really listen. And I do that too. And I can tell you it's probably going to happen. Somebody listening to here might come up to me and want to talk to me, and I might accidentally do something stupid, but look around and be like, oh shoot, Onyx and Gala's here. I didn't realize that. And, or somebody, I need to say hi to him. And I should give that person 100% of my attention. That's going to be my goal. It always is. Give the person your attention. Start out with asking them, tell me about your business, and listen. 2 more questions after that. Is there anything that you need help with in your business? Not necessarily that I can help, but maybe if I meet somebody in the room, I'll make sure to connect them. Is there anything you need help with in your business? And then the third thing is you just say, here's how I think I can help if you think you can help. If they have, say to them, do you have an affiliate program? Maybe my list seems good for that. If it doesn't, if you're in home improvement or real estate and somebody else is in health and wellness, you're not going to offer a JV. And then finally, here's what the magic that's going to happen. Person's going to say, I've been talking about me for the last 5 minutes. What do you do? And that's your permission. When that person wants to know about you and you've listened to them, they're going to listen and they're going to ask the same things. If you just go out there and say, hey, have you, I heard you do this. Have you ever considered using this technology in your business? Immediately, I get back on my feet. I'm like, I'm being pitched. And even if it's something I could use in my business, I just feel like I don't know you yet. I feel more comfortable that you're married, you have 2 kids, and you moved here from Australia. Oh, that's great. Yeah, I've been there. That's fantastic. Let me get to know you first. And by the way, what do you do? Oh, that's fantastic. I could use that in my company. That's my advice. A little long-winded, Omar, but you know me.
No, that's brilliant. You can't take the pleasantry and the social out of networking. You have to do those things, and you have to establish a connection first before you start. Just yesterday I was talking to somebody about an incident like that happened on the Marketers Cruise. We were on a stop somewhere, and Melinda, myself, it might have been you that was with us. There was 4 of us, and we were in the pool about waist deep in like the middle of this big pool at one of the stops, or it might have even been on the ship. I don't remember where it was, but somebody wanted to talk to us, and they came into the pool with a CD of their product. And they walked all the way to where we were in the pool with water like this high, and we have drinks, and we're standing in the pool and laughing. I'm probably tipsy, and he's handing me his thing, and then, hey Omar, look, I've been wanting to meet you because I want to use a copy of my CD, and I'm on your list, and now I'm like this. I'm in the pool, with, holding the CD, and I'm like, you're trying to be nice, but now I've got to swim back, or it's just. You got to be mindful of those situations. Yes, it's a good place to network, but you just got to be, mindful of how you're approaching.
Yeah, that's the other thing is I'm not big into props. I don't mind a gift. On my way out, see me going, heading up, going somewhere or whatever the case. Hey, I just want to give you this on your way to your room. I don't like when somebody comes up and hands me a CD-ROM that I've, at 10 a.m. I've got to hang on to this thing all day, or their book. I understand, but I don't want to have to hold on to these things all day. There's just a better place. I saw the internet connection thing again.
Yeah, for 1 second there, you sounded like Neo going into the Matrix. So great advice, Mike. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to have you at the event. Guys, remember, this is the Commission Expo. It's April the 19th through the 21st. We want you to come in the day before, so make the 18th your travel day. Registration is from 3 to 6, and to get you there the day before, we're doing open bar during registration. So that should be fun. We've also got a presentation from Marshall Silver that night. So you really want to come in on the 18th, make that your travel day. It's going to be an awesome event. You've got people like Mike that are super, super cool, and come down and hang out at the dinner and in the lobby, and you could just like network. And I'm excited to be at this. The last event that I did was 5 years ago, and I swore I'd never do another event, right? And here I am doing another event, and the excitement that's building up is awesome. I'm really, really looking forward to hanging out with all you guys. So, Mike, thanks again for being here with us, and I look forward to seeing you in Orlando.
Thank you, Omar. See you guys there.
Take care.